How many times have you been working with a patient the first couple weeks and you've been doing everything right? You've pulled out everything you could even imagine from your book of tricks that could make this person better, and they still just don't get better. And what happens in those first 2 weeks? They end up leaving. And as many times it has to do with incompliance, busy schedules, sometimes money. But, you know, as a clinician, I always knew what the answer was. It was this thing right here. This pain, inflammation, injury cycle that commonly hits up people when they first get to therapy. And why? Well, it's because they've been hurting for not days and weeks. They've been hurting for months and years, and this thing just keeps cycling around. It's extremely frustrating, right? So what can you do? Well, there may be an option for you. And the reason this is because combining this and this dynamic tape, you actually have a pretty good solution to get after this thing those first couple weeks. Well, here's how. Look, first step, little angulated tool here does a great job of breaking up tissue and lining it back up. That's really important clinically because we know with pain and adhesion of soft tissue structures, if we can get that unlocked, pain goes down, and poof, there go the adhesions. Well, we still got a bunch of this inflammation cycle left, so what do? Well, we have an option now. We have a dynamic step. Dynamic tape, a biomechanical tape, a completely different category because it manages load, manages movement patterns, and manages functions. And why is that important? Well, pretty simple. Because if we were to look at all the other tapes out there, they all have their functions, they all have their purposes, but you will see dynamic tape in every single category is completely different than what's currently available. I mean, even just looking at the tape, the one on the far end, that's a kinesiology tape, and this one right here, that's dynamic tape. Now, if you could just imagine being able to take a piece of resistance band and being able to tape it onto someone's body, that was what kind of came into mind with Ryan Kendrick, the creator of dynamic tape. What could you do with it? Particularly if you had different levels of strength, not just colors, different levels of strength, what could you do? This is amazing because now, with dynamic tape, we have a two-tiered system for actually changing the load that goes through the body. And even more fun, this one right down, our new one, Ego Tape, is made from recycled plastic bottles, which is pretty cool, and it's stiffer, it has a little less recoil. It works better for things like ligaments, while the original one is more for muscles and tendons. We can tape onto tape to change how much force we put through it. So we could have a dark, black band, which would be like with the resistance band, and we need a lot of force. If we only need a little bit of force, we go to that lighter yellow one. We can change it based upon what we actually need, and we have a two-tier system for it. So like if you're used to taping like this, convoluting the skin, bunching it up, here's perhaps another option to manage load. Actually using the leverage to actually get down into the body part and use it, that bungee recoil effect, to have it to lift up the body, say like a squat or something like that. Actually lifts up with some force. If you've been used to doing things like this as far as for neck pain or shoulder pain or upper trap pain, this may be another option. Let's manage the movement patterns. How? Well, we actually use the tape and rearrange things. Mechanically, we actually create lift. We actually pull the shoulder blade back. We take the pressure off the levator and the upper trap by using the mechanical forces of the tape. It doesn't even matter for things like baseball or volleyball. There's still enough recoil and motion in this thing with 200% stretch. Doesn't limit anybody from moving anywhere. And finally, if you need to get a better lever on this thing, someone's having Achilles tendonitis or tendinopathy, let's use that leverage. Let's use the mechanical effects of this tape to actually help spring the foot back, to take load off that tendon and provide support right into the Achilles through taking pressure off it by using the bungee effect of the tape. It's pretty cool. And even our partner here, the reason he started using it is because he credited with extending his career because of what effect it had with absorbing load, with taking pressure off of him. So when we come back to this inflammation cycle, it's just this. We talk about abnormal tissue loading and micro trauma. What do we want to do here? Well, we can kick those out once we actually get control of it with dynamic tape. And then alteration of muscle recruitment and altered movement patterns, well, we're able to manage function, manage load, and manage all the different parts of movement with the dynamic tape, but not restrict anything so we can kick those out. And why is this important? Because as a clinician, if you're only dealing with this, we know those chemicals are eventually going to work their way out of the system, and you can finally get to your job, which is doing all the other things you want to do, but you can't get them past that first couple weeks. It's really difficult in that time period, but we know if we get them past that, you start seeing really good functional gains, and you start to see smiles come back on people's faces. So look, this is a great opportunity for you to use two different products to really get after one of the hardest things to do possibly in the clinical setting is those first couple weeks to make a difference in patients' lives. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or contact your product distributor, and we'd love to see how we can put these two products together to make you an even better clinician than you already are.